in consumer spending, and Ontario retailers are losing out to hard times at home and the cheap prices across the border in Buffalo.
I've been twice in the last year, and it is worth it because you get things much cheaper than you do here now. They say come January it'll be worse still.
We're losing 20 to 30,000 jobs in retail. We've lost in the last year because of the lost sales. In total expenditure, we are losing approximately $800 million worth from the border and near border zones.
Winter says the border town area is moving north and now includes Toronto. That shoppers are bargain hunting to protect themselves from high Canadian taxes and protect their standard of living. It's estimated that retailers in Metro are losing 4 to 7% of their sales to competitors in Buffalo, New York.
I think in certain areas of the store, we definitely are losing some sales in the sportswear and the casual wear due to the lower prices down there. But again, for the service-wise and quality-wise, I think the customer is still willing to stay with Jack Fraser's.
If we collected GST and provincial sales taxes, that would take a large incentive away from shopping across the border.
John Winter says sales will continue to leak across the border unless Canada gets tough with returning shoppers.
That would cure it. I think we have to start playing games at the border because the amount of sales and jobs that are being lost is enormous. And this may be permanent losses. We have to go and get some of that trade back.
It may be tough on retailers, but try convincing consumers not to head south. It's become more than just a passing fad as more and more Canadians head south with just one thing in mind. Here's Regina Hickel-Sabo with a story from Buffalo.
It's Saturday morning in Buffalo, New York, and U.S. Customs is feeling the earth tilt to the south.
We're sinking with the volume of Canadian cars coming across the border.
34,000 carloads of Canadians will clear customs this weekend, and this is a slow weekend. Their mission? It's no mystery.
Children's clothes, bedding, anything. Usually I just buy shampoo. If you look in here, there's a lot.
Bargain basement prices in the Buffalo area have Canadian shoppers turning circles. Costume jewelry, kitchenwares, and Christmas decorations. And nobody's shy about showing off their purchases.
Some nice towels. I've got a nice mirror for my daughter.
But they're not quite so eager to show off when they come to Canadian Customs.
We take tags off and throw in the suitcase. You haven't done the ripping off of tags thing?
Not yet. We're not going back till tomorrow, so I'm going to do that tonight.
Where will you do it?
Probably in Rochester, in our hotel.
Housekeeping.
Florence Grimmer works here at the Sheraton Hotel in Cheektowaga.
Okay, this is a checkout room here.
She sees what Canadian shopping sharks don't want customs officers to see.
We usually find in our rooms after they've been at the mall for a day.
What have we got here?
A little bit of everything, I guess. Looks like somebody was Christmas shopping and food shopping too.
Some
hair dryer.
Oh wow.
Some kind of a
drill
or something.
And come Sunday at checkout time, the hotel hauls out garbage by the dumpster full, courtesy the Canadian shoppers.
The guys just carry out loads of it, load after load of garbage.
With the recession in Canada, the strong Canadian dollar, and the specter of the goods and services tax, Buffalo is more attractive than ever to Canadian shoppers. And that makes people on this side of the border very happy.
At the Niagara Factory Outlet Mall, retailers say Canadians account for 70% of their business.
They like Canadian shoppers for the obvious reason. They spend money.
Dennis Gorski says shoppers from Ontario spend $100 million a year in Western New York. And that Canadian cash has raised the standard of living for residents in the area.
We don't have to levy a real property tax, which is the main source of revenue in our county government, any more higher because of the high sales tax benefits.
Jake Brack has a liquor business. It thrives on Canadians.
I come down here on Saturday mornings and I look for Canadian license plates, and I put my little slingers with a 10% off coupon on Canadian cars. Try and generate some more business. Seems our business here in the States is a little flat unless we have Canadian business.
When it comes to weekends, Canadian tourists are the rule, not the exception.
This hotel has 300 rooms, so basically that would be approximately 250 rooms of Canadians.
Freddy's Drugstore also gets 60 to 70% of its business from Canadians, and no wonder.
Not when you buy hair stuff for $7 and get hair for $2.50. Why? We're just at a university and we have to pay back our student loans, and we're not saving any money by shopping in Ontario.
By nightfall, the wallets are a little thinner and it's time to go home. But it can take hours. There's traffic gridlock and there's customs. Some make it, some don't. But even with the lineups, the hassles, and the cost of getting here, many still believe it's better than shopping at home. Regina Hickel-Sabo, CBC News at the Rainbow Bridge.
Well, people in Windsor grew up with cross-border shopping, but now retailers say they're feeling the pinch more than ever. And it's going to make a tough Christmas even tougher. Brian Worrell reports.
Go to any shopping mall in Detroit or the suburbs any day of the week, and you'll find a parking lot jammed with cars from Ontario.
It's cheaper.
A lot cheaper?
Some things are. You have to really watch what you're buying.
The bargains are so good that some shoppers keep coming back even after they've moved away.
Well, actually, we don't get over here as much as we used to. We moved down to Peterborough way, and so whenever we get to Windsor, we usually try to get over here.
On the Canadian side, convenient drive-in suburban shopping centers seem to be holding their own. But as vacant storefronts show, Windsor's downtown is not. 250 small retailers here must compete directly with American merchants. The Windsor Area Economic Strategic Planning Committee estimates that at least $69 million in sales have been lost this year across the border. The chairman of the Downtown Business Association says it's more like $90 million in lost sales, and economic impact is 4 times that.
It's a much more realistic figure to talk in terms of that Windsor loses $500 million plus in economic activities.
This has had a dramatic effect on the downtown area.
Extremely.
Deeg blames federal policies for the high value of the Canadian dollar, high Canadian retail prices compared to American, and falling sales in Windsor. Deeg estimates downtown retail sales are down 45% from what they were 2 years ago.
Traditionally, border communities in Canada for the last 50 years, as you have records for economic activities, have always depended on a favorable trade balance in terms of attracting Americans to spend their money in the Canadian communities. And that favorable balance has totally reversed itself.
Most merchants here believe that the implementation of the goods and services tax in January will only add to their problems. Although the manufacturer's tax is being eliminated as the GST comes in, most merchants believe that that benefit will not be passed on to them. As a result, goods and services in Windsor will be even more expensive, and there will be less reason to shop here. Brian Worrell, CBC News, Windsor.
Hillary, it's estimated now that about 2 billion Canadian dollars is leaking into the United States. About half of those dollars are coming from people in Ontario. A marketing consultant that I was talking with today, John Winter, he says that he doesn't think that the provincial and federal governments realize just how serious this problem is. He says he doesn't even think the retailers realize how serious it is. They're blaming a lot of their lost sales on the recession, and they really should be looking at the lost sales leaking over to the border in the United States. Even here in Toronto, he says the problem is getting to be quite significant. Hillary?
Brenda, thank you.
You're welcome.
Still ahead on CBC at 6, deadline for war.
He must be out of Kuwait. That means entirely by January 15th.
President Bush reacts to Iraqi claims that it will never give up Kuwait. The Ontario Police Commission began an inquiry today into how Metro Toronto police investigate themselves. The inquiry was ordered when a Metro officer, Gordon Younger, resigned from the force after allegedly running a Toronto escort service. Lauren Madlon is in our newsroom now with more. Lauren?
Well, you're right, Hillary. A lot of questions following the resignation. Some say forced. The circumstances not quite clear of Gordon Younger. It all began last March the 1st. Now, Metro Force's Internal Affairs Unit investigated the charges, the allegations, and the circumstances surrounding the resignation of Mr. Younger. They decided that the agreement was fair, the agreement to see him leave while charges against him were dropped and allegations were not investigated. Furthermore, the Chief William McCormack, said that everything was fair and ethical about the agreement, but there was very understandably the perception on the part of some people that something was amiss. And now this inquiry is seeking to find out if Gordon Younger did indeed receive special treatment.
Police are responsible to investigate crimes.
Can Toronto's police investigate themselves impartially? By February, this Ontario Police Commission hearing hopes to have at least a part of the answer. The first step, hearing how other forces, among them the RCMP, conduct their own internal investigations.
Normally, in a criminal matter,
the Internal Affairs Unit of the force.
The case came to light after Toronto Police Chief William McCormack told the media that no charges would be laid against Gordon Younger, the morality squad officer who'd been implicated as the operator of an escort service that advertised in bold type, "The pleasure can be yours." Younger was confronted after a sting operation. The sting resulted in an agreement praised by some, mocked by others. At the time, police union officials claimed that Younger refused to leave the force. In light of that, union leader Art Limer said that getting Younger off the force by means of an agreement was proper, saying that Chief McCormack had saved the force a lot of aggravation by getting Gord Younger to resign. Among those questioning the agreement, 2 members of the police commission who maintained they'd learned of the deal while watching the 6 o'clock news.
Well, I think we want to look at how...
This lawyer represents Roma Langford, Younger's partner in the alleged escort service. Marlis Edwards says her client turned Younger in after the two had what she called a falling out. Edward believes the recommendations made after this inquiry ends will be important.
The propriety or lack of propriety around reaching agreements for officers to resign rather than to be dealt with by way of the criminal justice system or by way of discipline.
And before the details of the Younger investigation, the Younger case are even examined, officers from right across North America, from forces from as far away as Edmonton, are going to be testifying. Tomorrow, Hillary, set to testify, representatives from Detroit, New York City, and Edmonton.
All right, Lauren, what does the cop on the street here in Toronto think about this?
Well, those who are willing to express an opinion have told us that they have no problem whatsoever with the fact that this inquiry is taking place. What they do have a problem with, though, is the fact that perceptions, founded or unfounded or otherwise, are being allowed to linger because of the delay factor. Remember that Constable Younger resigned on March the 1st. Mr. McCormack met the media to say no charges would be filed on April the 1st, and a little bit later he reiterated those statements again on April the 10th. And now here we are close to Christmas time, and there's no end in sight, especially given the fact that after tomorrow's testimony, the inquiry won't be resuming until late February.
All right, Lauren, thank you.
Thank you.
2 Toronto men had to be rescued this morning during a fire at a downtown rooming house. Fire broke out on the top floor of this building early this morning. 12 people live here, including this student, who is trapped on his 3rd floor window ledge. When firefighters arrived, he was about to climb down on his own using a rope.
I looked down to the floor, which is about 30 feet down, and I decided against it, so I stayed there for a couple minutes. The fire department came, and they came really fast. They did a really great job with all this. I'd like to thank them for saving me from up there.
3 people were taken to hospital after the fire, which caused about $50,000 damage to the house. Fire officials say it was caused by careless smoking. Residents of Brampton could have bus service again by this Wednesday. A tentative agreement was reached on the weekend between striking transit workers and the city. The buses stopped rolling on October the 15th. The main stumbling block in the dispute, wages. Well, 1990 has turned out to be a tough year for the Metro Toronto Zoo. Zoo officials are blaming rotten weather for significant drops in attendance and revenue. Hamlin Grange reports.
It's been one of the zoo's worst years for attendance since it opened 16 years ago. A visit to the 220-hectare site in Scarborough is a treat for thousands of visitors each year. But this year, 14% fewer people came to see the animals, just over 1 million. 1985 was the zoo's best year. Nearly 2 million visitors came to see the giant pandas from China. This year, fewer visitors have meant fewer dollars. To the end of last month, the zoo had revenue of $6.5 million, almost $2 million short of what was projected. The zoo's general manager blames it all on a poor economy and bad weather.
During the summer period, late spring, early fall, we have about 40
weekend days, 40 Saturdays and Sundays. And this year, 33 of those 40 days it rained.
Location is just...
Calvin White told the zoo's board today that poor weather has also forced the zoo to cancel annual cross-country skiing.
We just don't think that this site is very good for cross-country skiing, and I think we're misleading the public if we let them think that they can come out here with their skis.
The zoo has had to make drastic cuts to avoid ending the year $1.3 million in the hole. And as part of his effort to turn things around, for the first time, the zoo will open at nights. The Africa Pavilion with its gorillas, the Indo-Malaya Pavilion with its orangutans, and the elephant exhibit will open until 9:30 on Fridays and Saturdays. A special Christmas exhibit will open until January 6th. It seems the only thing that's up at the zoo is births. About 800 animals and birds were born or hatched this year. Jabari was born 7 months ago. Another gorilla was born last month. Hamlin Grange, CBC News, Scarborough.
Coming up on CBC at 6, Jean Chrétien appears before the Bélanger-Campo Commission on Quebec's future.
Christmas is a wonderfully special time of year, a time you can be with family and friends and enjoy the best of the season. And Christmas is a time when each Shoppers Drug Mart is filled with special savings on everything you need to make your holidays festive, healthy, and affordable. Okay, plug them in. Hey, there's only room for one star on this tree.
Quality. It's something most people demand when buying produce. But high prices can make people question its value. Isn't it refreshing to know there's a place where quality and price come together to provide real value? At Elias Fruit... Hey, guys, fellas, lady! At Elias Fruit Markets, it's a simple formula, nothing fancy, just real value delivered fresh every day. Elias Fruit Markets, we keep it simple. Who was that?
Christmas is a special time for family and friends, and it's a time when Shoppers Drug Mart helps to make your holidays festive and affordable. Right now, get this elegant silver-plated and brass picture frame free with a minimum $30 purchase of cosmetics or fragrances. Okay, plug them in. Hey, get that beaver away from the ladder.
Everyone's heard of the Stony Point Tavern, and for good reason. They have more than 30 salads and 2 soups made fresh daily in their kitchen. Roasted chicken, ribs, pork chops, Lake Erie perch and pickerel, a 7-entree land and sea platter for 2, and now Calgary-style prime rib. Stony Point Tavern has many more entrees and combos and a large selection of tasty appetizers free with certain specials. Friendly full-service waitresses will make your dining more pleasurable. The Stony Point Tavern.
Energy and you. Hints on using energy more wisely. Enjoy a hot shower? You'll use 50% less water with a new energy-efficient shower head, and you'll save money. A suggestion from the Ontario Ministry of Energy.
We're here to stay. And I think TV puts that image across that we're not a fly-by-night type of business, that we're here to stay and to build their trust.
If your car or light truck has an exhausted exhaust system, your Essex County GM dealer's service special offers the solution. Included is a new muffler, front pipe, tailpipe, clamps, labor, and a lifetime muffler warranty. Sample price only $139.95. Another Essex County GM dealer's service special featuring genuine GM parts, the expert choice. See Dan Kane, Chevrolet Cadillac Windsor, Jack Giese Pontiac Buick GMC Leamington, and Ron Hodgins Chevrolet Kingsville.
Liberal leader Jean Chrétien made an appearance today before the Bélanger-Campo Commission studying Quebec's future. He warned that separation by Quebec would be a long, difficult, and extremely expensive process. Karen Gross reports.
Jean Chrétien waded into the National Assembly's Red Room amidst a sea of cameras and lights, waded into unfriendly, if not hostile, territory.
Je suis ici comme Québécois, très fier d'être Québécois,
Et je suis ici comme Canadien, très fier d'être Canadien.
In a calm and deliberate manner, the Liberal leader set out his vision of Canada. He warned independence would be extremely costly for Quebecers and called for a renewed federalism with more power to the provinces and some sort of special status for Quebec.
Je crois que le système fédéral est le meilleur système.
But from the start, Chrétien was put on the defensive.
Vous avez maintenant, je pense, tout un problème de crédibilité.
You have a credibility problem, said PQ leader Jacques Parizeau. He then proceeded to pick out factual errors in Chrétien's brief, specifically in his economic figures.
Et les actifs physiques, qu'est-ce qu'on en fait?
How would you change the constitutional amending formula and get the provinces to agree?
Pas dit que ça sera facile, Monsieur Parizeau.
I didn't say it would be easy, but I think it could be done. But even from those leaning towards federalism, Chrétien didn't get an easy ride.
Quelle crédibilité peut-on donner à Jean Chrétien?
From businessman Marcel Baudry, the same kind of question. What kind of credibility can we give you when you rammed the Constitution on us in 1982, after you promised us renewed federalism in 1980?
Malheureusement, le Québec n'a pas signé.
We did our best, he said. Unfortunately, Quebec didn't sign, and it was traumatic for everyone. From Lucien Bouchard of the Bloc Québécois, a remark about how Chrétien had killed Meech Lake, and questions on his thoughts about a quick referendum.
C'est par celui qui propose l'indépendance.
The party that espouses independence should be the one to call it, he said, and that's not the party in power right now.
Vous nous amenez un goût de la réalité.
The only outright approval of Chrétien's brief came from Equality Party leader Robert Libman. All in all, it wasn't the fiery debate that people expected. Karen Gross, CBC News, Quebec City.
The Ontario government today made its first response to the recommendations of the Crombie Commission on the future of the waterfront. Among other things, it is promising to build a hiking and biking trail 150 kilometers long from Burlington to Newcastle. And the government hopes to find a way to move the Gardiner Expressway. Havard Gould is at Queen's Park tonight with the story. Havard?
Good evening, Hillary. As for that trail, well, it could be decades before it's finished. And as for moving the Gardiner, well, the government wants to do it, but no one knows if it can be done. The government had not much in the way of details today, but Environment Minister Ruth Greer says she knows what kind of waterfront she wants.
A waterfront that is clean, green and attractive, a waterfront that is usable, diverse and open, and a waterfront that is connected, affordable and accessible.
Greer says the government accepts the essential principles of David Crombie's latest report, issued 2 months ago. The government wants to set up a new body, a trust, to take over some lands now controlled by the Harbour Commission, but not needed directly for shipping. And the government wants to limit the power local governments in the Greater Toronto Area have over developments along the waterfront. Overall development plans will now have to be worked out with the provincial government, along with local, regional and federal governments, and including local conservation authorities. In his Royal Commission, David Crombie has pushed the idea of planning for the entire watershed, bringing an end to the jumble of jurisdictions and contradictory planning by various governments and crown corporations. There is a classic example of that down by the waterfront. Ontario Place, run by the province, and Exhibition Place, run by the Metro government, are side by side, but they operate independently. The government is asking Crombie to consider combining the two and then come up with a plan for what should be done with their lands. And the government also announced today that all of its buildings will be tested for energy efficiency, a move that's going to cost about $15 million. Ontario Hydro has been commissioned to do what's called energy audits on about 8,000 government buildings, and the idea is to save energy and money while convincing others to do the same.
As we develop on this program and lead with this particular initiative, we'll be setting an example that we hope private sector corporations will follow.
The audits will take 5 years to complete. Under the deal worked out with Ontario Hydro, the utility will then come back to the government with recommendations on how to save energy in every building.
We'll be looking at the saving of megawatts as an alternative to building new supply. And as long as we can save electricity as cheaply or less expensively than building it, then it's justified in our mind to support that kind of energy program.
Hydro expects to come back with about $150 million worth of ideas on what the government should do to fix up its buildings. But Hydro says the government could save about $50 million a year if it does all those things. And now, if you're watching tonight from Hamilton especially, a major expressway has been killed by the government. It's the Red Hill Creek Valley Road, an expressway linking the QEW to the 403. The government says it's not going to allow it to go ahead. It's withdrawn its funding, and Minister Ed Phillips, the Transportation Minister, says it's because it would have been environmentally tragic. Hillary, that's it from Queen's Park. Back to you.
All right, Havard, thank you. A Toronto man is trying to give a gift back to nature for Christmas. The idea is to encourage people to plant a tree to replace those cut down for Christmas. And as Bill Harrington explains, the business is already branching out.
It's as if this big tree on a West End lawn in metropolitan Toronto had dropped its seeds to nurture a tiny forest below it. Sprouting here is a fledgling entrepreneurship, a cottage industry, or more accurately, a garage industry. Dean Mazariel is a man who can clearly see the forest despite the trees. For just a very short period, Dean became a victim of the recession, laid off by a company in the building industry. Then he had a vision of green, evergreen. He would join the trend to making Christmas green by saving and selling trees. Trees that could be tiny Christmas trees or their replacement.
If you're really environmentally conscious and you don't want to chop a tree down, well, then use this tree as a tree. It's a little small, it's 12 to 18 inches, but sure, you can use it as a tree. But the main idea is to replace the one that we take away from the earth. You take care of it like your own little baby or whatever you want to call it, and then come spring, once the frost is out of the ground, you plant it and you give something back to the earth.
Dean is not yet making the money he made as a marketing manager in the building industry, but his sales to schools and industries is growing. He sold about 500 trees so far at about $4 each. And he has plans to expand beyond this season. He will get different types of seedlings to appeal to those celebrating Earth Day and for general sale to environmentally conscious people. For Dean Mazariel, even the recession has a green lining. Bill Harrington, CBC News, Toronto.
And let's go outside now for the first forecast of the week from Bill Lawrence. Bill?
Well, we've only got a few more weeks left in fall. As a matter of fact, Hillary, we've started our countdown to the first day of winter, and that day will be this Friday, as a matter of fact, at about 10:07 in the evening. That's when winter hits, and that's the day we call the shortest day. Actually, it still has only 24 hours in it, but we have the fewest number of daylight hours on that day. And, of course, the other countdown we are monitoring very carefully tonight is the countdown to Christmas. 1 week from tonight is Christmas Eve. And in between now and then, we're going to have a lot of rain, weather more reminiscent of September than it is December. The forecast then, we have rain spreading across southern Ontario tonight. It is already raining in the Windsor area, and temperatures throughout much of the Lower Lakes region will rise from today's values. Winds are on its way up to an overnight low of 6 degrees. A lot of fog around right through the Lower Lakes chain. The same situation for London. Rain tonight, the temperature rising up. Highs tomorrow getting near the 8-degree mark, and for Toronto, a similar situation. The temperature getting near 4 degrees, and rain in the forecast right through tomorrow, and a high of about 8 degrees. And as I suggested earlier, that rain is expected to continue right through until the end of fall. We'll have more to say about that a little later on. We'll also look at the weather right across the prairies, and we'll look at highs today running in the minus mid-20s. Hillary.
All right, Bill, thank you. The Maple Leafs are making more moves. Bruce Dobigan is standing by with more on that. Bruce?
No, Hillary, it's not being moved out of town, as some people may be wishing for a Christmas present. You have to hand it, however, to old trader Floyd Smith when he gets a notion to deal. There ain't no stopping Floyd when he gets going. There are now just 10 players remaining in the Leafs lineup from the team that skated in the final game last year in Chicago, and that number may be reduced soon as well. As Ken Daniels reports, Smith today traded a popular local veteran to the Buffalo Sabres in exchange for Mike Foligno.
Chanting Lou's name became a familiar refrain at Maple Leaf Gardens last season. But now the 32-year-old Toronto native and certainly one of the most popular Leafs is off to Buffalo, along with defenseman Brian Curry. The Leaf general manager Floyd Smith hopes this deal will work out for all players, especially Francis Getty.
Last year he was a big factor in what went on here, and for some reason or other this year it just didn't work out. So when I had the opportunity to get a player like Mike Foligno, who I know is a character player and will give us some help immediately and down the road, we decided to make the trade.
Mike Foligno, at age 31, was the Sabres captain, trying to quiet a dressing room disenchanted with its coach, Rick Dudley. Foligno's point totals have been in steady decline since his 80-point campaign in 1985.
I thought that I did my best every time I was on the ice for the Sabres, and you know, it was a decision to move me, and I'm sure it was a tough decision on Jerry Min's part. You know, the little infusion of the Mike Foligno style of hockey, hopefully we can win a lot more games there.
Lou Franceschetti had dressed for just 16 games this season. Whenever he didn't suit up, if you asked him why, he'd say, jokingly, perhaps I'm just not good enough. But in his heart, he knew he was.
There's a couple of trades where they brought in 4 players that did this pretty well the same job that I did. And it was more or less a numbers game. I couldn't, whatever I did, I couldn't get back in the top 3 lines. And it was frustrating, but I kept my head above water, and I just got to look forward to Buffalo now.
Change might be the best thing at this time, then?
Well, look what it did for me here. Going to the smaller rink, I'm going to have to take out my shoulder pads that I had in Washington because I know I'm going to do a lot more banging or get banged around in that little building because there's nowhere to go without getting it done.
Ironically, Franceschetti's last goodbye was to Tom Watt, the coach whose decisions ultimately led to this trade. With that in mind, one thing about this season still haunts him.
Maybe I'll sit down with him this summer and find out what went wrong.
Until he finds out what went wrong here, he'll try and make things right in Buffalo. Ken Daniels, CBC Sports.
And the Leafs will be on the road this week. They play the Islanders tomorrow night. The Rangers Wednesday. They're in the Capital District to play the Caps on Saturday. And then on Sunday, they're in New Jersey. And Hillary, we've lost a big-name player in Louis Franceschetti. He led the league, 14 letters in his name. The biggest player in the NHL, by name at least, has gone to Buffalo. We'll be back with more later.
Still to come on CBC at 6, the hidden talents of Tony Curtis, Anthony Quinn, and Red Skelton.
Christmas is a wonderfully special time of year, a time you can be with family and friends and enjoy the best of the season. And Christmas is a time when each Shoppers Drug Mart is filled with special savings on everything you need to make your holidays festive, healthy, and affordable. Okay, plug them in. Hey, there's only room for 1 star on this tree.
Brisbois Christian Bookstore and Gift Shop is proudly keeping Christ in Christmas again this holiday season with Fontanini nativity scenes. Enter a free draw for this charming set. And sterling silver Italian-made rosaries, regularly $49.95, now $29.95. And with beautifully handcrafted Christmas villages, precious moments, collectibles, and more. Books, cards, videos, music, Bibles. It's all at Brisbois Christian Bookstore.
From our family to your family, blessed holidays.
Capture the elegance of a bygone era. Give your home warmth and personality. Create dramatic visual effects with architectural wood moldings from Fauché Lumber. These beautiful moldings are inexpensive, easy to install, and can be stained or painted to meet your needs. There's a complete selection, one of the largest in the county, and they're available in random lengths. Fauché Lumber is your ornamental molding specialist and your complete building center. Located on 4th Street in Amherstburg, just a short drive from Windsor.
The baby in this picture is going to have a very special year. A year of first steps, first words, first birthday. And none of these firsts will ever happen again. Now, if you were this baby's parents, which film would you choose? No other film in the world gives you purer, richer colors than Kodacolor Gold film. Aren't your pictures worth gold?
If your car or light truck has an exhausted exhaust system, your Essex County GM dealer's service special offers the solution. Included is a new muffler, front pipe, tailpipe, clamps, labor, and a lifetime muffler warranty. Sample price only $139.95. Another Essex County GM dealer's service special featuring genuine GM parts, the expert choice. See Gus Revenberg, Pontiac Buick GMC Windsor, Jim Allen Chev Olds Essex, and Fort Malden Pontiac Buick Amherstburg.
These are the tools of communication.
4 years after Chernobyl, millions of people continue to live on contaminated land.
The tools of seasoned professionals.
American cigarette companies have the right to sell cigarettes in Thailand.
5 journalists.
You can't start hacking off parts of your body because you have a fear of cancer.
Capturing the human drama. The new team on the Fifth Estate.
Were you expecting to die when you came in this room?
And they're determined to stop one of the world's most ambitious energy projects.
Tuesday.
I'm Beth Harrington. When Cineplex Odeon raised ticket prices to an all-time high of $8 this week, they blamed part of their actions on the GST. But the GST police say their actions aren't completely legitimate. Stu Patterson has more.
Cineplex bumped its adult admission price in major markets from $7.50 to $8. The company says the extra money it makes will help it meet increased costs expected under the GST.
Can you explain why your price is such a way? And if they give
the GST Consumer Information Office says it's investigating the Cineplex hike. Officials say the GST law doesn't take effect until January 1 and can't be charged before that. A spokesman says any company appearing to jump the gun by charging GST will be investigated.
And if they don't resolve the issue, we're prepared to go out and let the public know and name names if that becomes a necessity.
Cineplex says the 50-cent hike will help them get a head start on the GST. That head start could amount to millions of dollars because so many of us go to the movies at this time of the year.
Now it's recessionary times. I mean, they're taking advantage of consumers when people are trying to get out and enjoy themselves over the holidays.
Moviegoers we talked to welcome the investigation.
I guess it's a good idea because as far as I'm concerned, I wouldn't come to the show house myself because it is getting too expensive.
They're building up a slush fund.
The Consumers Association of Canada is closely watching the Cineplex case.
If it was worth it, I want to be tempted to say boycott them. Blighters, they don't deserve any better.
The GST office says it will publicize instances where the tax should not be charged.
We wanted the right to redress any grievances and indeed any exploitation of the situation with respect to them taking advantage of consumers. And of course, we haven't been given that, and we don't have it.
Cineplex refuses comment on the investigation by the GST office.
I'm sure if they charge $15 a movie, people will still go. Anyway, what do actors Anthony Quinn, Tony Curtis, and Red Skelton have in common? Well, they're artists who express themselves as well on canvas as they do on stage. And all three are part of a new exhibit at the World Gallery of Stars in Simpsons.
These signatures are well known, not for paintings, but for roles they've played on film and television. Anthony Quinn in his many screen roles, Tony Curtis in Some Like It Hot with Marilyn Monroe, and comedian Red Skelton as the famous Clem Cadiddlehopper. Linda Masters is curator of this glamour-driven exhibit.
Anthony Quinn has been painting since he was 9 years old. He even began winning awards at the age of 9, and then won an architectural contest, worked with Frank Lloyd Wright, and then went on to sculpt.
Quinn's sculpture and paper relief is also on display, as are the cartoony clowns of Red Skelton. Tony Curtis' work, however, is not cartoony. It's vibrant and contemporary, especially this Marilyn Monroe series.
He loves Marilyn, and he's known throughout the world for his Marilyns. I'm not sure what his infatuation is, but he adored her, I'm sure.
These pictures are on sale. Some reprints start at about $800, and the originals can run up to $10,000 apiece.
Yes, I did say Simpsons. That's where it is. That's it in entertainment, and now here's a look at some of the things happening around this evening.
Coming up on CBC at 6, Mikhail Gorbachev fends off another threat to his leadership.
He said right now, from the very beginning, that he will survive as a leader of the reform process for the next stage.
Colio Wines of Canada are pleased to present the perfect gift for this holiday season. Colio gift packs. Choose one of ours or create your own. Available at Colio retail stores. Colio wines, from our family to yours. Happy holidays.
Witness the joy an unexpected holiday gift can bring. Like this gift from Kodak. 2 free AA batteries inside every specially marked 3-pack of Kodacolor Gold film. The batteries are perfect for your cameras and flashes, and well, you know what to do with the film.
Putting off buying that one piece of furniture you really need?
How's the book, hon? Fine.
Announcing Leon's Don't Pay a Cent event.
Now, Buster, get.
Everything you need for your home for no money down, no interest, and no payment till May 1991.
I'll get it.
Leon's Don't Pay a Cent event. Now what are you waiting for?
Have you got any 5s? Or any fish?
I don't want to grow up, don't want to grow up. I don't want to grow up, don't want to grow up. I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. There's a million toys at Toys R Us that I can play with.
Milton Bradley lets you join the Babysitters Club, where you can share your secrets and tell stories 1787. And for hours of fun, the hottest new party game, Scattergories, $29.78 at Toys R Us.
I want to be a Toys R Us kid. I don't want to grow up, don't want to grow up. I don't want to grow up, don't want to grow up. I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. There's a million toys at Toys R Us that I can play with.
Hasbro has new Kids on the Block dolls dressed in the hottest teen street looks, $18.78 each. Go, my walking pup. Looks and walks like a real puppy, $59.99 or $54.99 after $5 rebate. Batteries sold separately.
I want to be a Toys R Us kid.
Colio Wines of Canada are pleased to present the perfect gift for this holiday season. Colio gift packs. Choose one of ours or create your own. Available at Colio retail stores. Colio Wines, from our family to yours. Happy holidays.
Soviet President Mikhail Gorbachev admitted today that he made serious mistakes in his 5-year plan of perestroika, and he pleaded with the Special Party Congress to grant him strong new powers. Gorbachev warned that it would be the only way to head off the disintegration of the Soviet Union. Steve Hurst of CNN reports from Moscow.
Bowing to public opinion, Gorbachev backed a precedent-setting nationwide vote on the treaty, as well as on the issue of private ownership of land, a concept that flies in the face of 70 years of Soviet communism. So did these words from the first speaker at the Congress, a communist from southern Russia who called for a vote of no confidence in Gorbachev.
Respected Mikhail Sergeyevich, people believed you and followed you, but they were badly deceived. You are bringing devastation, disintegration, hunger, cold, blood, tears. Innocent people are dying.
The call was handily rejected. Russian President and sometime Gorbachev antagonist Boris Yeltsin said there was no point in harassing the Kremlin chief right now.
At the Russian Congress, there was great sentiment for us to work together for the salvation of the nation.
Gorbachev warned the nation that the police, KGB, and army were poised to get tough, if necessary, to pull the nation out of the crisis. The Soviet leader's chief envoy on the Persian Gulf crisis defended his boss's new get-tough policies at home.
We can't do without them now. We won't be able to protect ourselves on the route we've taken. It's absolutely obvious.
Perhaps he's right. The Izvestia newspaper reported Monday night that Red Cross workers and nurses in Moscow were caught pilfering food, cigarettes, and clothing from aid packages that have been arriving from abroad for Soviet poor people and the aged. This is the Fourth Congress, and Gorbachev is in the habit of getting what he wants. This time, he's after a more powerful presidency and endorsement of the new Union Treaty. But even if he succeeds, and he likely will, it's unclear by any means that those two measures will be enough to shake the nation out of its deepening crisis. Steve Hurst, CNN, Moscow.
Proposed talks between Iraq and the United States are stalled tonight. Saddam Hussein is refusing to meet U.S. Secretary of State James Baker before January the 12th. U.S. President George Bush says that's too late. The UN has set a January 15th deadline authorizing the use of force to liberate Kuwait from Iraq. With more on today's developments, we have Steve Handelsman of NBC News.
Besieged for 4 months inside the American Embassy compound in Kuwait City, Ambassador Nat Howell couldn't see much going on outside. But he told the president today what he did see convinced him Iraqi troops mean to stay in Kuwait.
They were winterizing the bunkers, yes, around the embassy.
They keep saying they have no intention either.
That doesn't bode well for us, does it?
It doesn't bode well for Saddam Hussein.
Bush is convinced the Iraqi dictator still does not believe the U.S. is willing to launch an attack. The president had hoped to correct that today through Iraq's foreign minister, but Tariq Aziz remains in Baghdad. He was uninvited to the White House because Saddam Hussein insists on meeting Jim Baker just 3 days before the UN deadline for Iraq to leave Kuwait or face force. Baker warned U.S. allies in Europe today Saddam may try a partial pullout to buy time. But the president said in the strongest terms yet, the UN deadline is firm.
He must be out of Kuwait. That means entirely by January 15th. If I thought the meeting on the 14th would permit him to comply fully with the United Nations resolutions, I'd be very flexible. But that's not possible.
To bolster his case that it's not just the U.S. versus Iraq, the president brought to the White House representatives of 28 countries who've contributed money or troops to Operation Desert Shield. Bush vowed that Iraq must leave every square inch of Kuwait without condition. And the president got the backing today of 14 former top national security and military officials. They wrote Iraq's Tariq Aziz to say they're advising Mr. Bush not to wait much beyond January 15th before launching a military attack. In Washington, this is Steve Handelsman for NBC News.
And with winter still about 3 or 4 days away, not until Friday at 10:07 does it arrive in southern Ontario. Very, very cold out in the west. You can see Winnipeg, the high for the day, minus 22 degrees. More cold air is on the way for the prairie provinces, but in Ontario, we warm up for the last few days of fall. Look at our systems map tonight. A center of low. There it is in Missouri. In advance of it, a southerly flow up from the Gulf of Mexico. Warm, moist air, the leading edge of which is running just to the south of the Lower Lakes region at the present time, and that has resulted in clouds spreading across just about all of the Lower Lakes region throughout the day. And as this system pushes to the north, of course, we get into this warm air mass that will trigger rain. It's already started in the Windsor area, and that will spread across southern Ontario and continue to be with us right through until Friday. Out of this low, another system. Up to the north it goes. There it is, the trough line. That is affecting the weather in the northern reaches of Ontario. And then away in the northwest of the prairie provinces, in Peace River country, there's another low dropping out of the Arctic, and that is bringing with it some extremely and bitterly cold air to the prairie provinces. And we get into that cooler air mass in Ontario for the first day of winter. A look at the province today. Here's the way it was in the south. The Ottawa Valley, cloudy skies, -4. They have a freezing rain warning in effect for the Ottawa Valley for tonight. Cloudy, freezing drizzle expected up around North Bay and Sudbury throughout the day. Timmins in light snow, temperatures at 1 degree this afternoon. They're looking for a snowfall of about 8 centimeters. Thunder Bay, cloudy and -4. Kenora, Lake of the Woods, sunny in the cold sector, -19 their high. In southern Ontario, as I mentioned, cloudy skies, rain into the Windsor area mid-afternoon will continue its travel across southern Ontario in the next 24 hours. And so the forecast for the Windsor area tonight, up to 6 degrees for the low, periods of fog, strong southwesterly winds. The same thing for the London area, rain moving in the matter of the hour, and the high overnight at about 4 degrees as that temperature continues to rise. For metropolitan Toronto, rain, temperatures rising to 4 degrees, and rain in the forecast for tomorrow. The extended forecast, rain for Wednesday, rain for Thursday, and for the first day of winter, cooler, and the precipitation changing to flurries, with winter arriving at 10:07 on Friday night. Hillary?
Thank you, Bill. And this is CBC at 6 coming up. The Sports Roundup with Bruce Dovigan.
Well, Hillary, Kurt Browning used the quadruple to leap into world prominence, but it's a double that made him Canada's Male Athlete of the Year for 1990.
K5 presents Pro Hockey Funnies, a hilarious look at some of the NHL's not-so-brightest moments. From hockey's hardest checks to its most ridiculous moments. This is definitely not what it takes to become a hockey legend. Pro Hockey Funnies is board-busting, high-flying hockey hilarity at its absolute funniest. If you like mayhem, you'll love this action. Even the unflappable refs sometimes get caught in embarrassing positions. You'll see some of the weirdest goals and the greatest saves and hockey's worst practical jokes. Pro Hockey Funnies is bell ringers and humdingers. It's the world's toughest game, especially if you play it like this. Take time out for Pro Hockey Funnies. Also ask for Boxing Wars, Super Bowl of Crashes, Smash and Crash and Sports Action, Roller Derby Wars, or Dynamite on Ice. Your choice, only $19.99 from K5.
Available at the Bay, Zellers, Wilco Woolworth, Kresge Kmart, participating Canadian Tire, Sam the Record Man.
When I look like this, my guys challenge me to lose 20 pounds. Me, Tommy Lasorda, the guy who loves to eat. Well, I lost 30 pounds in 3 months with the Ultra Slim Fast weight loss plan. It was easy. I had a delicious shake for breakfast, one for lunch, and then a wholesome dinner. And I didn't feel hungry. The pounds dropped off. Isn't that great? You know, this is the first time I ever lost anything and felt good about it.
Ultra Slim Fast. Give us a week. We'll help you lose weight.
Putting off buying that one piece of furniture you really need?
How's the book, hon? Fine.
Announcing Leon's Don't Pay a Cent event.
Ah, now Buster gets.
Everything you need for your home for no money down, no interest, and no payment till May 1991.
I'll get it.
Leon's Don't Pay a Cent event. Now what are you waiting for?
Have you got any fives? Go and fish.
Introducing Salad Queen Machine. Comes with 4 cutting blades, secure base, and it's ready to use. Shreds cabbage for coleslaw or salads. Mountains of it, so fast and fine. Add color to your salad. Grate a handful of radishes in only seconds. Grate carrots without ever scraping your knuckles. Salad Queen grates cheese for tacos, pizza or salads, or even chocolate for baking. Change blades. Want to slice carrots? Just look at them fly. The 4th blade does all your fine grinding. Salad Queen will even crush ice. Amazing! You also get this second machine. Make French fries for the whole family, all uniformly cut that brown just right. Or healthy carrot sticks for munchies or salad. Interchange heads. Watch this potato. It comes out mashed. Where's the peel? Unbelievable! Try it with eggs. 1 push here and egg salad here. You also get this safety bowl. An extra hand in the kitchen. Salad Queen. 2 machines, all attachments and safety bowl. Everything $39.95 from K5.
Available at the Bay, Zellers, Wilco Woolworth, Kresge Kmart.
Put SR like the rest. Well, it's time for those year-end awards, and of course the first major award is the BN Canadian Press Male Athlete of the Year. And for 1990, the winner is the man who turned a quad into 2 World's Figure Skating Championships. Yes, Kurt Browning becomes the first man to ever win the Lionel Conacher Award since its inception in 1932. He made skating history in '88 at the World Championships in Budapest by landing the first quadruple toe loop in competition. After capturing the men's world title in Paris in '89, he became the first Canadian ever to win the men's global title twice when he triumphed again in Halifax last March. That's where these pictures are from. The Canadian Press poll with 3 points for first. Well, it had Browning getting 48 points. Mark Messier, who captained the Edmonton Oilers to the NHL Stanley Cup, was second, and Wayne Gretzky finished third. And congratulations to Kurt Browning. Well, Ottawa Mayor Jim Durrell was front and center when that city won its NHL expansion bid in Florida last week. Now he's going to be a front man for the hockey team, the Senators, as well. And that has some people in the nation's capital wondering where his loyalties will lie.
Jim Durrell says he is a man of boundless energy. He's going to need it. With that, Durrell began his second full-time job, president of the Ottawa Senators. He's in charge of both the hockey and the business aspects of the organization. He'll stay on as mayor until November's elections, and Durrell says if there are any conflicts of interest, he'll declare them.
Anybody that follows city council closely sees aldermen constantly declare a conflict of interest where they have a family business, a family member involved in an organization, and it's no different for me.
The only motivation which I see by keeping the two jobs is pure, unadulterated greed.
Alderman Tim Kehoe says Durrell now has one job too many.
We don't know the other partners. There's limited partners who own 49% of the club. If we don't know who they are, we don't know whether the mayor will be in conflict unless he tells us.
Alderman Kehoe has difficulty doing one job, so I can understand him not understanding that have to do two.
The mayor's new job has the support of most council members. They say his predecessor, Marion Dewar, was mayor and president of the federal New Democratic Party at the same time. At Queen's Park, Municipal Affairs Minister David Cook says he's concerned that the mayor of a major city would also draw a second salary.
I've asked the Ministry of Municipal Affairs to gather some more information for me so that I can make a more informed comment. But at this particular time, that's really all I have to say.
And it was a tough weekend for some top NFL quarterbacks. Phil Simms of the Giants out 4 to 6 weeks after spraining his right ankle, a real blow there for the Giants. Meanwhile, the Bills quarterback Jim Kelly, he hurt his left knee in that same game. He's expected to be out until at least the playoffs after tests were done today. Could have been worse, of course. He has a brace on his knee, and that seemed to hold up a little bit and prevent worse injury. And Bears quarterback Jim Harbaugh, if you saw last night, the Lions destroyed the Bears. Well, Harbaugh is out for the rest of the season, probably with a dislocated shoulder that he suffered against the Lions. Meanwhile, no greater love hath any football fan for his team than to brave the elements for them. And there was one Denver Bronco fan who took that to an illogical extreme. His name is Rich Goyens, and he vowed to stay up on this billboard until his Broncos won another game. That was 6 long, cold weeks ago. Yesterday, the team did Goyens a favor, winning for the first time in 6 games and allowing him to climb down from his perch. The Broncos beat San Diego 20-10. He got down just in time, apparently. A major snowstorm came through there last night, and his orange crush would have turned blue, Hillary, if he'd had to stay up there much longer. Back to you.
Thank you, Bruce. And updating our top story tonight. Canadian business leaders say that more than ever before, shoppers here are heading south to spend their money. They say that high prices and high taxes in Canada are driving thousands of people to the United States to do their shopping. It is saving money for consumers, but experts warn it is costing retailers here millions of dollars and thousands of jobs. They predict that with the GST getting royal assent today, an already tough situation could get worse next year. And that is CBC at 6 for Monday, December the 17th. Thank you for watching. I'm Hillary Brown. Good night.